gonna explain what we do in the organization, and then I'm gonna share my personal experience. So the ultimate peace vision is to build bridges of friendship, trust, and leadership between youth in communities that are divided by policy. Currently, we're doing it in Jewish and Arab communities in Israel and in the West Bank. And we're using Ultimate Frisbee as a tool. Just so we can get a notion, how many of you are Americans? How many of you know what Ultimate Frisbee is? Like I thought, it's pretty much parallel. So, for those of you who don't know, Ultimate Frisbee is a team sport. It looks a little bit like American football. You need to get from one edge of the playfield to another edge and make a touchdown. It has some differences, even though it's a team sport. It's played 7-on-7. It's different from American football in that you're using a frisbee and not a ball, and that you can't hit each other. So yeah, it's a team sport. It's a non-contact sport. Also, you are not allowed to run with the disc, so you have to pass to one another in order to make a goal. And it's unique in the fact that it has no referee. Even in the highest level of play, I also play in the Israeli national team, and we compete in the European Championship. And there is still no referees, and we have to communicate our differences on the field with, from one player to another. So why we chose Ultimate Frisbee? First, I think it's important that we chose a team sport in order to promote bridges of friendship, because a team sport is exciting and emotional, and the fact that it's exciting, it means both that it is fun for the kids, but both that it creates conflicts. People want to win. People are competitive, and you must have conflict in order to teach conflict resolution. Right. The fact that it's non-contact sport, it both means it's safe, but it also means that it teaches that you don't have to use aggression in order to win. You can win even being respectful to your opponents. The fact that it has no referees and all conflicts must be solved on the game, it means both that you have to trust one another, but before that, it means that you have to trust yourself. It means you have to have the integrity and know that even if you really want to win, you have to obey the rules. And what do I mean when I say there is no referees? I'll just give an example so you understand. Say that I caught the disc and I thought that I was inside the bounds, and somebody else thought I was outside of bounds. And there is no referee to tell me, shofet, to tell me if I'm in or out. I need to decide myself whether was it a goal or is it a turnover. I give the disc to the other team, and we need to talk about it, communicate with the other team, and probably the person who will decide will be the best perspective. I will ask who in the game, who of the players have witnessed the play in the best way, and who says, hey, I witnessed it and I really saw it and you were in or out. I will probably listen to him and do as he says. The fact that no running with the disc is allowed, it means that you have to work with teamwork. And there is one last thing here, which is called the spirit of the game. So in Ultimate Frisbee, values are actually instilled inside of the rules. It's written on the rules of Ultimate Frisbee that you have to respect one another, and the conversation in the community of the Ultimate players, even outside of Ultimate Peace, is already rooted in values. So as the kids grow up, we are welcoming them into a community of Ultimate players outside of the organization, which is already talking in this vocabulary of mutual respect and integrity and fun and all the Ultimate Peace values that are written right underneath. Okay, so what do we do at Ultimate Peace? First, we have 17 teams in 10 communities all around Israel and the West Bank. we coach 300 players. That's at least what we did last year. Hoping this year will be even larger. So the coaches are sent to coach the kids in their own communities, in their own cities, in their own neighborhoods. And I think this is really important because this is how we attract kids who are into the sport, into the ultimate side. Rather than kids who are into their peace building, or most likely their parents are into peace building. So we go to a school in a Jewish city or an Arab city, and we say, hey, we play ultimate. Who wants to join in? And people want to join in, and we don't like advocate that we're talking about cross-cultural meeting. We might say that we won't hide it, but we welcome kids because of the sport, and they stay, and they're taught values. Then they can meet the other side. Yes. Also, during the year, we have tournaments. Aside of the weekly practices that are inside the communities, a couple times in the year, maybe 3 or 4 times every year, the kids gather together, and they have tournaments of 2 types. First is a hat tournament, in which all the kids are together, split it up into new teams, and they play Jewish and Arab kids together in the same team. And the second type of tournament is league tournament, in which Jewish teams play against Arab teams. Each community is a separate team, and they play against one another. Some might think that it is less meaningful in the sense of collaborativeness and cross-cultural meaning, but I think that in those tournaments, people get competitive because they have trained with their own team all the year, and now they come here to the tournament and they want to win, and they want to win the other community. And stakes get high, and excitement is in the air. And when this is what's happening, this is the time to teach mutual respect. This is the time to show the kids that they can be competitive and they can want to win, and they still respect and interact with others with integrity. Lastly is the community visits. This is something we started quite lately, and that once in a couple months, one community would go to visit another community, and they would have a mini tournament of their own, and afterwards the kids can, there is like a time for the kids to actually get to know each other on the personal level, and not only on the ultimate side. One thing which is, I think, is very special about Ultimate Peace is the LAT program, Leaders in Training. This is the 3 years program for kids who were players or campers in the Ultimate Peace program, and it starts around the ages of high school. The kids in the first year, they do a project. They collaborate, and they're in charge of one day in the camp. They get the whole kids, and they get a bunch of resources, and they run the camp for one day. And the second year, they work more about public speaking and coaching, and hopefully improving a little bit their English, not like mine. And in the third year, they can again do a project, but of their own choosing. So they can identify a problem in the world, or in Ultimate Peace, or in the community, and try to fix it. I think what that gives us is, first, it gives us organizational sustainability. That means we are raising the new generation of coaches, and also we're slowly moving the center of influence from global to local. We're hoping that in a couple of years, more decisions will be made by people who have been grown with the program and have experienced what it is like to be a player or a camper. Also, I think the LT program is the place where the biggest friendships take place, because kids meet each other every month, and they collaborate, and they have hard times, and they get to know how to do off the field transcultural cooperation. And this is where arguments are made, and this is where fights are happening between people from different communities. And only in this place, a real friendship can grow, where also negative experiences are we are now building a graduates program for the people who have finished the elite program and still want to remain in touch with their friends to have like a place to be. Lastly, we have the camp. Each year, Ultimate Peace gathers from all around the world for a 7 days camp. Coaches are people from mainly the USA, but from all around Europe and all around the world. And the kids, the players are from here, mainly, Jewish and Arab. And they they split into families for the week. They split into teams. In each team there would be like 2 players from each community, and they would play together and train together and eventually compete together at the tournament in the end of the week. Aside of the ultimate part, the camp has a little bit more activities. Aqua yoga, which is my favorite thing. Slip and slide, anybody knows what it is? It's super fun. There is like a surface, it's like a rubber surface, and they put water with a hose on it, and then you can jump and like slide all the way, and you can catch a frisbee, which is an excellent bonus. And in the end of the camp, we have a talent show, in which the kids can show their singing beautifully, or beatboxing, or all the talents this guy has. I think what's important on this note is that whenever kids are met together across communities, this is a sure highlight. This is always a fun experience, because when inside of the weekly practices, we can have, it's getting like it's getting normal, and then people have fights and people are down. But in camp, it's a week full of extremely fun experiences, and in the tournaments, it's a whole day of playing Ultimate, and people are always very enthusiastic. And I think it's important that we get the kids together from across the borders only when we can ensure them to have a blast. How can we promise that we succeed making it so fun? All the people in light blue are coaches, and all the people are in purple are LATs. Please notice the enormous amount of volunteers that are coming to this organization, and the ratio of coaches to kids is amazing. It's like 2 coaches on 5 kids, and this way we can ensure that it's the most fun, both for the kids and for us. Just a wrap up of what it looks like. So we ascend through those layers through the program. We start in the weekly practices, and this is the time where to instill the values and insist on the kids' behavior and promote respect. And after in our opinion, the kids are ready to meet and interact with the other people, with people from other culture. Only then they dive a little bit at a time. They dive into cross-cultural communication, and it starts only on the field, and it gets a little bit off the field, and eventually it gets to working together as an LAT or working together as a coach. I think one more access, in which what aspect, whatever aspect. One more aspect in which there is a progress bar here is that we create some kind of gradual personal development program. Start again personal development on the field and getting to personal development off the field. And I think personal development is a key to conflict resolution, because capable kids make leaders that can create peace. And before one can have a peace, before one can think about having peace with the other side, has to have peace with himself. And we teach kids first how to solve conflicts amongst themselves, then how to solve conflicts amongst their teammates from the same community, and only then they have the tools to solve conflicts with people from the other culture. a little bit about my personal experience. So I began Ultimate Peace 9 years ago as a player, as a camper, when I was 11. When I was a high schooler, I was in the LIT program, and since I graduated, I think 3 years or 4 years ago, I'm a coach in the program. I've been on and off, but only coming to the summer camps. But now I luckily get back to coaching next week, every week. And today, as I told you, I'm a Jewish male of the age of 20, and I'm a soldier in the IDF. And it was important for me to know it because I think that we don't work in a bubble. Ultimate Peace does not work in a bubble. We work in a real world. And I am a soldier. And from the other side, there are people who are very much into politics, or very political active Palestinians. And nowhere in Ultimate Peace we are supposed to agree with one another. Nowhere in Ultimate Peace we are officially expected to even discuss solutions for the peace between the two people, peace between the two nations. We are expected to be real people in the real world and have our own things and our own political views. And I really like that the people from the course said that we need to develop empathy for one another, and not political solution. And after we learn to develop empathy, we can interact in a respectful way and improve the world and bring peace between people. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the most meaningful experiences I had in Ultimate Peace. Do I still have 2 minutes?
You're right.
Okay. What? No, 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. So I have in the 12, like when I was 17, 16, I have identified a problem in Ultimate Peace. I thought that Ultimate Peace only reaches out to populations of higher socioeconomical level, and I think this is a problem that a lot of peace organizations are dealing with. And if we want to bring peace, we need to get together people from all across the nation, not only the ones who are easy for us. So I have contacted a youth community center in Herzliya, in a neighborhood which is not of the best socio-economical level, and I have worked pretty hard. I have worked like 6 months just to get them collaborating with us. And as a 16-year-old kid, I have signed a contract with them. I can read it today. And we have brought to the sport kids who wouldn't necessarily get to us this way. We had one kid in the second practice that brought a BB gun to the practice, and he showed us. He brought a BB gun, and we asked him, a BB gun. And we asked, why did you bring a gun to the practice? And he said, well, on my way walking from my home to here, there is a site of building, like they're building a building. And there are Arab workers in it. And I'm afraid that once I go by, they will attack me. So I brought a BB gun to protect myself. This is a 11 years old kid. And I just wanted to tell you that by the end of the year, he not only didn't leave the practices, but participated in tournaments in which he decided to come to tournaments in which he played together with our kids in his own team. And I think this is what's important about the layers that I've spoken about before. Yeah, okay, thank you so much.